most of the time when I play Goo, I do this kind of, something similar to what Sardine is doing, and then I just get so many drovers and just leave them, well, so many small proteans and then just morph them like in their base as drovers. Just because it's fun to see like 44 units pop out at once. I haven't actually really taken a look at the Strider very much.
Well, I don't. I mean, the drover does, how do you say, splash damage. So,
yeah, with
I'm
the
not sure why
shotgun.
you want to choose for a Strider. I mean, splash damage against, Tier 1 units. It's the safe choice.
Well, I know Striders can be effective versus Beta, just in sniping down the small and medium hubs. Like, that's an entirely different situation, though. So, yeah, in this case, the Drovers may just be the better choice all around for the kind of Tier 1 unit composition that Zlex is going for. But now up to 4 Mother Goos is Sardine. He's got them split along the north part of the map, and as long as he's able to kind of capture all of these extra resource nodes, he's going to get to a pretty overwhelming number of production units pretty soon.
Yeah, and don't forget, I'm only 4 extractors from human, but he has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 factory, so he can produce a lot of units pretty fast, but I'm not sure if his economy can hold on into mid-late game.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to see Zlex do the same thing that he did in the previous game, which was start to spread out his economy a little bit and really fuel those large factories as he adds them on. But Sardine is starting to get to that critical mass of Mother Goos. He's actually building a couple of Tempests here, which is very important in locking down the monitors of his opponent. Especially with a human player, you want to have the advantage of the cliffs and the high ground over them. And of course, with those monitors, they'll be able to shoot you.
Indeed. Again, picking up units pretty much everywhere. I mean, if he would have used all those Proteans he had and just morphed them all into drovers, he just would have contained Zlex in his base.
He very well could have, but for right now he's playing very defensive. As we can see, he's holding, I think, 6 small Proteans on kind of the south side of the map, and he's got a couple of more small Proteans, I think, split other places. Now, Zlex, in this particular game versus Goo, he's doing a much better job of scouting. Versus Human, you don't have to be worried about, like, the hidden expos as you do versus Beta and versus Goo. So the scouting by Zlex is much more thorough in this game. And he's trying to keep an eye on everything. He's flying over the cliffs, and he's going to get a reasonable idea of what his opponent is doing. But unless Zlex starts to actually eat away some of these mothers, I don't know that the production will be able to be stopped. We'll have to see, but Zlex is going to have a rough time.
Well, yeah, but the goo is on 2 sides of the map, and the production of Zlex will skyrocket in a moment. So, yeah. Oh dear. He built Tempest. Oh my dear.
Oh, that's a lot of Tempest.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, that should have all been drovers or something like that.
Yeah. So Sardine is gonna lose 1 Mother Goo.
Oh dear.
That's a lot of. That's quite the misclick.
Yeah.
I mean, when you've got. Is that like 6? I think that was 6 small Proteans that he just
at least
morphed into Tempest.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 5 or 6.
Yeah, that could have been like 30 drovers or 25 drovers or something.
Oh, I hit the wrong hotkey.
Ooh, yeah, that is not good. Well, there goes a lot of the offensive capabilities of Sardine. He's not quite out of it yet. If he's able to trap this small group of units, that would be very nice. But Zlex is just going to be running around the map. And again, like we saw in some of the previous games, if Zlex's multitasking and eco-harassment can just pull apart Sardine, this could be pretty bad. Now, Sardine is moving forward. Lots of small Proteans, morphs them all into drovers, and now he's got a healthy number of drovers.
They eat through the unit, man. Splash damage.
Oh, it's so good. And they shoot while moving, which is perhaps their best attribute. Like, they're so fast.
Well, what I would like to see from Zlex is that he scouted the top region. I mean, he has monitors out, and I don't think he has any idea that there are 3 mothers on the northern.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've been sitting there for like 5 minutes or so.
yeah, it's a bit sloppy in my opinion. He scouted everything else, but not the most obvious side in my eyes.
Yep. Unfortunately for Zlex, though, he doesn't quite know about that. But yeah, without really knowing about those mothers, because the mothers are pretty. They're not exactly protected well.
Did you spot the teleporter?
I did not.
They
Is it already constructed?
Yeah, and there are units moved in.
Oh.
And with units
So-
I mean lancers.
Okay, so he's got like 6 lancers.
Yeah, I saw 3 lancers moving in, that's it. I think it were lancers, I hope so, that it were not gladius.
Oh, Zlex is actually using a pretty big blob of units here. Now, of course, the Goo with that melee attack is going to be able to absolutely shred through that tier 1. That was a nice victory.
Eaten alive.
Yeah, those are the kind of moves that make people say Goo is OP. And then of course, if these small Proteans start to get low on HP, he can mass transform them or mass morph them into just a ton of drovers would be my guess. Although maybe he could go Tempest again.
Would be fun to see another misclick. Well, not fun actually, but it would be so bad. Okay. I'm curious to see what will happen here. Losing many Proteans. Come on, man. More of them.
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, no, he does morph them there. Now, this is a lot of Striders, which is pretty reasonable anti-armor DPS, but if they actually, well, maybe if they don't focus down the Lancers, it's not very good anti-unit DPS, but there's the GG, and Zlex remains your King of the Hill.
King of the Hill indeed. A solid performance today from Zlex.
Yeah, taking out all oncomers. Now, Sardine made a couple of critical mistakes in that game, and I think one of them was certainly morphing the Tempests, but again, how good are these Striders actually? I haven't actually seen them perform very well in battles. It seems that in a lot of situations, just the mass drover is so much better.
Well, they are better. Let me ask if Zlex can play another game.
Which would be pretty neat. I don't know that I can actually stick around for that one, as it is just a 4 p.m. here, which means in about 15 more minutes, I will start moving into my new apartment.
Congratulations, man.
Which, it is, I mean, it's a little bit smaller than this one, but it's also cheaper, which is very important for me.
Oh, cool, man. You can spend more money on computer upgrades.
Exactly. That's the kind of idea. And of course, Netput, thank you very much for having me on, allowing me to dual cast a couple more best of threes. Zlex continues to be the king of the hill, and of course, you guys can all check out ggreplays.com or gamereplays.org. They're the same thing. GG Replays just takes you to the Grey Goo section of the website. All sorts of tips and strategies and guides. Well, maybe not a ton right now, but as the game progresses on, there's going to be more and more content over on ggreplays.com. You can also join in the King of the Hill yourself if you want some of that action.
Indeed. Well,